Hi there, this is a fat old man reading a Wikipedia page. It ought to be interesting. Magnus Huss, born October 22nd, 1807 in Torps Vicarage, Mediblad, died April 22nd, 1890 in Stockholm, was a Swedish physician and professor, knighted with the name retained, nephew of Magnus Huss. La da 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 da. Um, 1807 to 1890. Magnus Huss was the son of the parish priest in Torps Parish, Medelpad. Johann Huss and Katharina Magdalena Helsen, the family name, was taken from the grandmother's house, whose father was the uncle of Ericus Oli Huss. Huss became a student in Uppsala in 1824, Bachelor of Philosophy in 1829, Master of Philosophy in 1830, Bachelor of Medicine in 1832, Doctor of Medicine in 1834, Master of Surgery in 1835, and Doctor of Medicine the same year. Already the year before, Huss had been appointed assistant physician at the Sacrum Femur Hospital in Stockholm in 1835. He became assistant professor of medicine and surgery at Karolinska Institutet. After living in Germany, Austria, and France in 1837 through 1838 for scientific studies, he was appointed assistant chief physician in 1839 at Serm Femur Hospital and started there on August 1st the same year, the first real medical clinic in Sweden. At this clinic, the physical examination methods were introduced in conjunction with a more detailed study of the pathological anatomy. And through the extraordinary ability and perseverance Huss developed during his long tenure as clinic director, the above mentioned day can, with the greatest reason, be said to form a turning point in the history of Swedish medicine. This is an English translation of the Swedish article, by the way, so the words are a bit rough. In 1840, Haas was appointed chief physician at the Sarah Femur Hospital, an extra regular professor, and in 1846 as regular professor at Karolinska Institutet. In 1860, he was appointed chairman of the Swedish Board of Health and director general of hospitals and spas in the country. He resigned from the chairmanship of the Swedish Board of Health in 1864, but remained as director general of the hospital until 1876. During his teaching career, Huss also practiced extensive consultative medical practice. He was also magnificently active as a scientific writer. In 1840, he published a summary of the health care of the Step Femur Hospital's medico-clinical treatment during the last 5 months of 1839. Also, for the years 1840 through 1842, he published such reports, which in 1843 continued with clinical analects. In 1845, he published his observations sur la fièvre typhoid. Huss gained his greatest scientific fame, though, in 1854 by the French Academy of Sciences with the Monthyon Prize, awarded Alcoholismus Chronicus, or Chronic Alcoholic Disease, 2 volumes, 1849 to 1851, in which the pathological changes in the body caused by chronic alcohol poisoning were first presented as a separate form of disease. Speaking of disease, where's my lighter?
Explain that that's tobacco.
She just told me to explain this is tobacco. He was also magnificently active as a scientific writer. In 1840, we already did that. Alcoholus chronicus, or chronic alcoholic disease. in which the pathological changes in the body caused by chronic alcohol poisoning were first presented as a separate form of illness. Furthermore, his excellent monographs on the statistical conditions and treatment of typhoid and typhoid fever, 1855, translated into German, French, and English, and on the statistical conditions and treatment of pneumonia, 1860, German translation. For the benefit that the North American military doctors during the war against the southern states had of the former of these works stated in an official letter of the United States Minister of War, a grateful acknowledgement. In addition to these works, Huss published in magazines a number of major and minor essays, edited financial stories from the Stephrem Hospital, 1850 to 1860, and from Crown Prince Lovisa's Care Center for Sick Children, 1852 to 1864, and the Supreme Board's Submissive Stories about the Hospital, 1861 to 1868. The observations about chronic alcoholism led Huss to fight drunkenness with all his convictions. Among his writings in his direction noticeable, if Brunnsviksberget and Brunnsvig-Superverget in Sweden, 1853, imprint of his work. If Sweden, Endemic Diseases, 1854. If Chlorosis, blah, 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 Sweden, 1852. And if Drunkenness and its Consequences for the Individual, for the Family, for the Municipality, and for the State, 1882. Sold during the first 7 months after its release, 20,000 copies. His 1887 published Warning Word Against Liquor and Bervengarbruld, according to a royal letter of 10th of February 1888, he posted in the classrooms of public schools and elementary schools. In 1865, Huss published the folklore Coffee, Its Use and Abuse. Coffee. In addition, he exercised great influence in a variety of other manners of a hygienic and philanthropic nature. Thus, it was at his and Carl Peterson Dahlgren's appeal that Crown Princess Lovisa's Care Institute for Sick Children was established. In conjunction with professors Hjalmar August Albin, Per Henrik Malmsten, and Carl Gustav Santensen, Huss issued an invitation to subscribe for the establishment of Stockholm's nursing home. He then entered into a constitution for its construction and arrangement, its first administration, at the recognition of Almanana Barhustein in Stockholm, for the establishment of cribs and for improved legislation concerning the care of the mentally ill. He was also energetically active. He took the initiative for Sweden's first crib, Kungsholmens crib, inspired by similar institutions in Paris. Furthermore, he was chairman of the board of the State Seminar for the Formation of Female Teachers and of the board of the Gymnastics Central Institute, as well as chairman, member of several committee appointments by the government, etc. Anyway, that's the dude who coined the phrase alcoholism. I just thought I'd read a little bit about that.
Comments?
Comments. She's telling me to say comments.